Alright, Treasury Financial Manual, Volume 1, Part 5, Chapter 4100, Requirements for the Use of the Depositary to Hold Public Money. Treasury Financial Manual with the chapter conclude with the existing guidance of the federal agency on the requirements for the use of the depository to hold public money. Federal agency financial personnel should share the guidance for the program procurement personnel throughout the federal agency. Section 4110, the scope of the applicability of the guidance being used with the intra-federal agencies comply with all statutes regarding public money, central collateralized all public money, properly report all public money held in the United States outside of the U.S. Treasury on all financial institutions. And then we have Title 31 U.S. United States Code and Title 12 the United States Code. Title 31 Code Federal Regulations Part 202, 206 provide authority of the chapter. Section 4120 terms of definition related to this chapter of the referred to Treasury Financial Manual Glossary. Section 4125 guidance federal agents receiving the public money for the name of the source statutory the report of the deposit of each fund within the U.S. Treasury unless otherwise specifically authorized by law. Consequently, federal agents may not hold the public money outside of the U.S. Treasury without specific statutory authority to do so. Federal agencies without specific authority to hold the public money outside of the U.S. Treasury must deposit all the money into the account in the name of the U.S. Treasury using various mechanisms set with the Department of Treasury included but not limited to Treasury General Account Number Network or TGA Network, General Lockbox Number Network, PayGov. Please refer to the Volume 1, Part 5, Chapter 2000. Depositing domestic check with cash received and over-the-counter collection provided with the instruction federal agents to deposit the domestic cash and checks. In rare cases, the federal agency may have the statutory to hold authority to hold money without depositing the U.S. Treasury into the account with the depository designated with the Department of Treasury. However, the federal agency must report these funds monthly statement of transaction 224 in all of the financial statement. Please refer to Volume 1, Part 2, Chapter 34. Accounting with a reporting cash investment held outside of the U.S. Treasury, which provides accounting reporting policy proceed with the cash not the public Treasury General Account investments for non-federal securities. Except as noted, federal agency holding public money outside of the U.S. Treasury pursuant to the specific statutory authorities required for the such for the public funds of the financial institution, Secretary Treasurer, designated depository financial agent with the federal government. Section 31, Part 202 of the federal agency must hold the such funds official account other than the account number or name of the U.S. Treasury that is complied with the federal regulation. Treasury Financial Manual policy proceed with the instruction govern public money held outside the U.S. Treasury. The use of the depository hold public money, for example, the federal agency hold an account with the depository responsible for the following: ensuring acceptable collateral, pledge and secure for the public money, deposit the success of the recognized insurance coverage, and properly reporting funds held in accounts designated depository of the monthly statement of transaction 224 or other designated accounts and other audited financial systems. Alright, Section 4130, Overseas Depositories, chapter generally concerned with the U.S. domestic depositories, foreign currency accounting reporting for guidance concerning funds of the depository located overseas. Alright, 4135, accounts of agency contractors, unless the agency specific statutory operation general statutory requirement federal entities must deposit all public money of the U.S. Treasury does not permit the federal entities to deposit the public money into the bank account of an agency, contractor, or vendor. The rules apply with irrespectively whether the funds subsequently would be transferred to the U.S. Treasury. The rules apply with equally to the federal agency contractor providing payment assistance status similarly prohibited the agency to deposit funds into the contractor vendor account of subsequent disbursement. For example, the federal agency must make payment directly to the United States postal system for postage, may not place the public money in a post vendor account to be used in space as payment. Alright, Section 4140, the Bureau officials for the will of the federal agency with appropriate mechanism for the management of the inflow and outflow of the public money. The discussion should occur with the federal agency issue with the request of a proposal, collecting and dispersing public money. Officials for the established for the collector accounts for the federal agency for the use of serving public money held outside of the U.S. Treasury. Alright, Section 4145, additional guidance is stated above, the federal agency may have the statutory authority to hold public money at U.S. Treasury for the federal agency the experience for the circumstance of requiring specifically to hold the public money outside of the U.S. Treasury and after consult with the agency council ensure whether this requires statutory authority. Agents of the request of guidance officials for determine whether under conditions must hold funds outside of the U.S. Treasury. Agency requests of guidance should be in writing, provide detailed information on the nature of the funds funds, whether the funds be held by the statutory base for the agency, believe that may permit the whole public money outside of the U.S. Treasury, fighting else for the other options, whether they fail to meet the agency's needs. The agency should send the request for the guidance of the Federal Reserve. First, officials of the Bank Policy Oversight Division. Official services should provide guidance on a case-to-case basis. Agency must provide officials of the written notice of any subsequent change of the statutory basis on any of the requests for official service that provided guidance, and your contact would be the Department of Treasury Bureau, Official Service of Revenue Collection Management, Bank Policy Oversight Division, 3201 Pennsylvania Drive, Building E, Landover, Maryland, 20785, telephone number 202-874-8471. And that was Chapter 4100 of Requirements Using Depository to Hold Public Money, Chapter Volume 1, Part 5.